Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Barry, that Goat Metal Show. I'm over here with my partners, Tone, Joker, NYC, Rich, the silent producer. We're here with the legend, Necron himself. All right, one of the great fucking dudes here, and we're just so proud and honored to have you with us, man. It's been a long time
Yeah.
coming, and want to thank you for coming on to the show, man.
Hey, no problem, dude. I actually this is one of the shows I've been hoping to get on because I
Oh,
I like you guys channel and shit, man. I enjoy all the content, the laughs and everything. So yeah, the honor's mine too to be here,
All
man. This is
right.
fun.
Thank
yeah, I
you.
mean, we're all been fans of yours for a long time, man. Watching your stuff, and I mean, look, I give you, I give Francisco jamming out all badass, Water Red. You guys have pushed that stuff out for the underground and gave us like our channel a chance to blossom a little bit as well and make this into a nice big community.
Yeah, well, my I'm sorry if I went too soon, but my channel was just really to kind of be like Francisco, is just play music, so support some underground bands, support the classics, and not support terrible stuff that I see a lot of the bigger channels doing. And I was like, no, man, we gotta get the right music out to the masses.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hold on a second. Let's show the people the logo. It's the witching hour.
Yeah,
That's right. There you go.
I need to get. I got to get my hands on one of those, man. That's
Yeah,
fucking dope, man.
I need to print some of those up again because that was a limited print run that JD helped me do. And
Yeah, that was about last year, right?
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
All right, man. So yeah, we'll start off with with Tone. Tone, you can go ahead, man. Set it off with him.
All right. So, well, this is my first question to you.
All right.
I've always wanted to ask you, what is your biggest influence in black metal?
A black metal.
Yes.
Ah, damn. I would probably have to still go with Marduk. Um, Euronymous Air Mayhem for sure.
Yeah.
But Marduk just through the 90s definitely just tore it up. I mean, Panzer Division Marduk, what really tops that to me in black metal and just visceral fucking aggression and speed and harshness. So probably, yeah, Marduk. I mean, if you're just going to go to the top main thing, and if you listen to some of my riffs, you'll definitely hear Marduk in it. So I'm going to go Marduk for black metal.
All right. All right. Okay, Rich. I'll start off with the 4 questions and then we'll hit them.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we got to warm it up.
Well, I wanted to find out. You were born and raised in Texas.
Actually, I was born in Naples, Italy.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, my dad was Air Force man, so we were stationed in Naples, Italy, and that's where I was born. I had dual citizenship till the age of 18, apparently.
Wow.
But when I was about 4, we came to San Antonio, and been here since. So I vaguely have some remembers of Italy, like our house on the beach. They had a house on the beach. I remember that, and some things like that. But I am an Italian American.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Paisan.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason why I ask is because my main question was obviously you grew up mostly in Texas.
Yes.
How was it growing up in Texas, being a young person getting into metal? Like, what were some of your earliest experiences? Just getting into metal.
All right. Well, just getting into metal when I was a kid, I think, and you guys are probably around the same age group, that Kiss was a big thing as a little kid. So that kind of just stirred me into the hard rock direction, right? And then I was lucky to have an older brother and who had friends who were like hard rockers and metalheads before I even knew what these terms were. And I was lucky enough that they thought I was cool, and they would say, "Hey, come here," and I'd be like, "What?" Like, "What do you think of this?" And like they would put on like Judas Priest. And I'm like, "Oh, well, this is great," And they put on some Iron Maiden, some Riot, and things like that. So, and I was just like, well, this is great. I want to hear more of this. So through them, I found out about more metal basically. And then started, finding out about like Hit Parader and Cream Magazine, and then like Motley Crue, the first album, and Wasp, the first album, and like American metal that started coming out. I was like, well, this is badass, and I remember actually I gotta give Motley Crue my credit to I had a Japanese friend who was half Japanese, I should say. I think his dad was found a Japanese wife when he was stationed in Japan. So anyway, they were from LA and they came to San Antonio. And he brought Motley Crue cassette with him. His older brother, and his older brother had like a little sports car, and I still remember it. I didn't know what it was. I saw the cover and I go, "What's that? That looks badass." Remember Vince Gill with the all the shit on and shit. And he goes, "Oh yeah, you gotta check this out." So in this little sports car, he's giving us a ride home from school because I was in middle school. And my friend, me and him, but his older brother was in high school. He put on fucking Motley Crue. So then I just, we're in this car cruising, all of a sudden you start out, was this like 1983 or something, 82, 83. It was just badass, man. And he fucking floored it, and I was having a good old time. I was like, yes, I want more of this life,
Yeah.
fast cars and metal, and yeah. So yeah, getting into it, and then he had another friend who was really into more underground metal. Like he had like Metal Forces magazines, like the 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and all that. And I saw that at my brother's friend's house. And I was looking at him. He goes, "Oh yeah!" And so he told me about this place in town that's legendary, Hog Wild Records. So me, him, and my brother, I went down there with him for the first time. Found out about punk rock, Exploited, and all that other stuff, and then underground, and all the underground Metal Blade stuff, at the time, and all that, like what I see in there, like Obsession or Warlord, and all these albums that I never saw anywhere. So of course I would bug them to take me back down there every weekend so I could buy a record each time I would go down there. So that's how it kind of started like that, man.
Nice.
That's awesome. And considering, San Antonio. I remember I did pay a visit to San Antonio years ago when my son graduated from the Air Force. He got the base over there, so he had his down there. Yep. Yeah, and it was fun. Me and my wife, we were blown away how nice San Antonio. People were nice, saying hello. It was, I don't know how it is now. This was back in I want to say it was like 2017 or 2016, somewhere when we went down there. But we had a good time. What was it like growing up as a metalhead in San Antonio? Was it a big scene growing up in San Antonio, or was it like it was little speckles of metalheads here and there?
It was a big scene. San Antonio used to be one of the launch points for heavy metal bands. Sweet. Like when it was called the heavy metal capital of the world for a reason, and it was a big metal scene in San Antonio. So like if ever like say like Saxon back then toured the country, and they played in big clubs, when they hit in San Antonio, they could sell out their arena.
Oh wow.
So put it, San Antonio was a big market. We had a couple of hard rock stations, one that's still here today, 99.5 Kiss, but back in the 80s that thing was huge. So there was a good metal scene, especially in underground, like SA Slayer. I'm sure you guys heard of them. They're the kings of San Antonio metal, and they were like we had like the places like the Castle, like miniature golf, when those but all the hokey stuff and all that, and video games and arcades in the inside of the castle. We had Malibu Grand Prix, which was next door. And these were like meetups for like kids, teenagers, you remember how it was with the arcades, and Malibu had the little racing cars. So you could go in there and see like the SA Slayer guys, or some of them hanging out and they're trying to pick up on chicks and all that. Like one time Rat came to a signing at Malibu Grand Prix. I didn't even know about this. My wife told me because she was into it all too. She goes, "Yeah, Rat." And I go, "What? They did that?" And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, and all the SA Slayer guys were there trying to hit on the chicks, but acting like they weren't there because Rats were posers." So yeah, there was a lot of that, like before we started calling everyone posers and all that. It kind of all just meshed together. You had your Venom and Judas Priest and Motorhead and the first Slayer, the first Metallica. It was this all kind of meshed together before everything started, like Game Glam over here and thrash guys over here. It was kind of a big mesh scene. It was really, I kind of thought it was pretty cool because you would get all types at shows and all that back then, especially the arena tours. But then on the flip side of that, you still had like the Bible Belt conservatives.
Mm.
And it was a lot harder to be a long-haired fucking dude back then than it is now. Like you couldn't get a job. It was like all type of discrimination. Or if you did get a job, it was like a suck shit job, like busing and things like that. So which I actually did, dishwasher, buster. And I said, fuck this, I'm going to school. I ain't gonna do this the rest of my life. But there was a lot of discrimination, like, oh, if you want to work here, you got to cut your hair. Or if you want to play football, you got to cut your hair and all that. And I was like, well, I'm gonna rock, dude. I ain't cutting my hair. So a lot of maybe missed opportunities, but I stayed metal through it, because fuck, you had to deal with those people all the time too. Like, I'm sure you guys got in trouble for like taking wearing a Slayer shirt or something that said something in the teachers freak out, send you to the office and all that crap. Yeah. So you dealt with that too back then.
Yeah. It was always
upside down cross, all that.
Yeah.
The upside down cross was big back then.
Dude, that would piss off all the teachers. If you remember the Haunting the Chapel tour shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did the same thing Tom did. I cut it so I could wear it frontwards like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could see the inverted cross, and that used to piss off all the teachers. Well, we told you not to wear that one anymore. You're going home and this and that. Like, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
In high school, the one time I got in trouble for was King Diamond shirt. The the second album after them. What the fuck was it called? The one that has his face on the front cover.
Conspiracy.
Yeah. Conspiracy. That flipped out my English teacher. I always remember. Yeah, it says the guy looked like a satanic preacher or something. He was saying.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I remember I used to abuse wearing my Legion shirt from Deicide. It had the end of God, the way it must be in the back.
Oh, that one's a classic. That always pissed off people.
When I had people in the school and teachers questioning me, it made me. I wore that shirt out. There's my yearbook picture. This yearbook where people were and I'm wearing that Deicide shirt.
Nice.
I did it because it was like, oh yeah, oh really? Yeah, I wear it again. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
It was great. It was
my music theory teacher, who was cool but still again religious, hated my Dark Angel because on the back it said perish in flames, die in hell. Yeah, that was just not. I should get so mad and send me to the office too.
Oh my god. Yeah, all right, yo, Tone, go ahead, man, because there'll be something else I want to get to him about.
All right. Now following up on the Texas thing, how you compare now the scene from back then?
Okay, well,
is it involved better or?
I would say extreme bands got it better now than back then, because there wasn't like SA Slayer, Watchtower, Hellstar, and all them. They would have good crowds and all that, but the more hardcore, thrashy bands, not as big as turnouts, So I would say, like, if you're playing extreme metal now, it's way, our extreme music in general, there's bigger crowds for it than back then, but when it was like, super underground, even though you would have like a lot of crossover. But I would say, but the band-wise quality now, I would say now is better. Like Houston has great bands. Houston can pretty much represent all I would say San Antonio, all of Texas, but all the great bands that come out of Houston nowadays. San Antonio has a pocket of good bands, and then you get out in El Paso.
Yeah,
they got Obeisance, Satanic Goat Ritual, Nexul, and all these killer bands going on. Infestation of Evil. Crazy because it's not even one of the biggest cities in the state, but they have a killer scene. And of course, you know, you got Hexea in the Valley now. So to me, like, I don't know, man, I just feel like there's a good Texas underground, you know, extreme metal scene going on now. That's better. But back then in the heyday of heavy metal and all that, you know, the shows might be a little bigger, but it wasn't as extreme, obviously. So I don't know. I'm going today.
Yeah. That's what me and my cousin felt when we went down there. We felt that we were like, damn, the scene is big down here, because we, you know, going to the record stores you had down there, and what you call to the show, how much metalheads showed up and all that. Yeah, we were like, yeah, we're very impressed with Texas and the way they carried on over there.
Yeah, it was weird when you know, when we toured with when we toured with Marduk and all that, we played in New York. What was it? Brooklyn. I guess they called it the hipster area of Brooklyn. You know, nowadays I don't know, but we played there.
Williamsburg in that area.
Williamsburg, yeah, that's where we played, and it was a good turnout. You know, like, but it's Marduk. You know, I got it too. It wasn't like, you know, people were here to see anybody else really other than Marduk. And then we, you know, the tour ended and we played across, you know, in Jersey the next night till like maybe 10-15 people.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you know, this world of difference, you know, like from if you're on with a known band and if you're just like, you know, one of the unknown bands playing a random place. You know, yeah, I was a little surprised.
Did they like, was that something where it was just, you know, part of for you guys, like, hey, you guys want to come play in Jersey, or how did that happen?
Do you guys Signature Riff Vinny? Do any of you guys know him or know of him? He was from Jersey guy. He's real cool. He set it up. He's like, okay. Hey, he was like, hey, when that tour ends, do you want to come on your way back, play in Jersey? And we're like, yeah, why not? You know, we'll be in the area. So yeah, it was Vinny's show. He promoted it and did what he could. He treated us real good. He got catered. His mom made catered Italian food and all this stuff. So I mean, we weren't complaining. And then the rest of the guys, like TA and them, were all happy because in the same strip there was a strip club. So they were like, they had a place to hang out. I'm banned from those, you know, being married now. So I said, knock yourselves out. All right.
Good. All right, Rich.
Yeah. I figure, you know, now that so you're in Texas, you know, you get the itch that you want to start playing in bands and stuff like that. So I'm not familiar with all of your projects, but you started off like in a hardcore punk band, right?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. Like a more like a crossover band. You know, when I was 16, I was like jamming DRI and, you know, Cryptic Slaughter and Attitude Adjustment and all that stuff, you know, stuff like that. And to be honest with you guys, I picked to play that type of stuff in the beginning because, you know, I just wasn't that developed on guitar yet to be doing like fucking flying solos and hammer-ons and all these other things and dive bombs. I was just, you know, just learning how to play guitar. And I said, well, I could do this punk rock, you know, like crossover stuff. Maybe obviously not as good as, you know, the big guys, but I felt comfortable jamming that off the bat. And yeah, so it was Cerebral Distortion was my first band. Now we did a demo in '86, and we got to play some cool shows for, you know, a bunch of 16-year-old kids, you know, 15, 16-year-old kids. Got to play with legends like our local legends like Fearless Iranians from Hell, Crippled by Society, Marching Plague, and all these other ones. And I think like Cerebral Distortion's biggest thing was we got to open for Cryptic Slaughter.
Wow.
When they came to town. So yeah, that was my fun high school band.
Nice. So then you're shifting out of the 80s you head into the 90s, and then you kind of went into like a death metal band, right?
Yeah. So Indignation, I started with actually the Cerebral Distortion bass player. He was the drummer for an original lineup of Indignation, because we wanted to play some heavy stuff. Of course, yeah, I like the crossover, but then I started getting better at guitar. I was ready to like try to do some Pleasure to Kill and Rain and Blood, type of stuff and all that. So that's how Indignation started. We actually, and that was also Swarngul was in Indignation with me. My brother-in-law Matt, well, he wasn't at the time, obviously, he was the vocalist. And then we John split to the army. Then I knew Javier because I worked with him. He was in Hell Preacher before, and Nickelvore just broke up. He was drumming, for those bands. I hit him up. Hey, you want to play? He said, yeah. So he played with us for like a year or so, and then he fucking joined the service. That, like, damn. And then Louis from Devastation and Rotting Corpse and all that, but he's from San Antonio. Louis was exiting out of Devastation, and then Matt hit him up, and Louis started drumming for us.
Damn.
So, and then we had a local metalhead gangster named Squid play bass on with us.
Gangster.
Yeah, he was kind of a gangster too at the time. He's a cool guy, But yeah, I didn't even know all that back then. Yeah, I didn't know, like, he was walking around, like, this was like before everything was legal. He was like packing guns on stage and all that, and I was like, what?
Oh shit!
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, why is it?
Sure, he
Whatever.
wasn't from New York.
I know. But and then I think he just like kind of faded out. You know what I mean? He was like doing rapping and that whole lifestyle, and he wanted to go more down that road. And what happened? We recorded our demo, the one that Aaron reissued with Words of Deceit, and we're gonna try to put it out on. Here's an exclusive. We're gonna try to put it out on CD with bonus live tracks to give a couple, make it a little longer for everyone.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
so that Aaron's gonna have that in the works. And what happened? I quit or got fired, whoever you talked to at the time. This all being high school. I mean, not high school, but just right out of high school, young men, just being hotheads and all that.
Yep.
They basically, I guess the final. This is funny because now the final straw is they got mad because I didn't go to a recording, even though I laid down my tracks. I didn't go to a recording because my girlfriend at the time got some free tickets to a Spurs game. I said, well, hey, I'm not going to go because I got these free tickets and they're close. And then I guess that was the final straw. We had the band meeting and all that. And they're like, oh, you're fired. They go, well, I'm not fired because I quit.
Funny. Did the Spurs win or lose?
I believe I think it was a playoffs, dude. And I think
playoff.
and I think it was. You know what? I think we did lose because I remember it was that shot, fucking Barkley shot over Robinson that won the game at a buzzer.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was at that game. I was like, yeah, fucking Barkley got that lucky shot off over Robinson. So yeah, but still, it's still worth it. I mean,
hell yeah.
To see that game or just, sit in the studio listening to other people play, I still think I made the right choice, to go to the game.
Nice. And did you also play in a band called Diabolus? Is it like a death metal band or something? Yeah.
Diabolus was okay. So yeah, I'm out of Thornspawn, right? I mean, I'm fucking Indignation. But I'm still cool with everyone in the band for the most part, especially like Mike and my brother-in-law Matt. We're all still friends. And Mike Zorngel knew of Diabolus. He knew Jeff. So Diabolus is like Jeff Tandy's high school band. Jeff from he's in Imprecation now and Trenchant, Aversifera. And he's like, hey, I know these guys. You want to check them out and see what you think of them? I was like, yeah, okay. So I went to check out their practice and I'm a little older, like 5 years older than them on the average, but they were really good. They had a fucking good sound. So I said, yeah, I'll jam with these dudes, and that's how got into Diabolus, was jamming with them, and like Link kind of like, setting it up, working it out, whatever. So yeah, and we did some bedroom demos on 4-trackers, just live in the fucking bedroom, recorded. And then a couple years ago on the second demo, me and Jeff got together, and I actually laid down some guitar solos and harmonies that we didn't do the first time around. And I believe that demo was called Falling Downwards. And from what I understand, Headsplit's going to reissue it.
All right.
So it will, yeah. It's a cool demo. It's raw. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a 4-track bedroom recording raw demo, but it has such a dark feel, dude. It's like old NCAN and Immolation. Oh yeah, it's nice. Really cool. Yeah. So yes, I was in Diabolus, and that lasted like maybe about 2 to 3 years.
Nice. I don't want to keep hogging up the questions, so I'll pass it over to Barry, and then I'll follow up again with the other bands that you were in.
All right. Yeah. Well, considering that, we're talking about things in the past, and as far as your evolution of music, where do you say, when your evolution started, basically when you said you started like with Motley Crue and so on and started going through, when did you started evolving to the more extreme, the more heavier side of the music?
Oh yeah, that was definitely around 85. I started tape trading, finding out about like Death and Repulsion, or Genocide as they were called back then, and Rotting Corpse. I started finding out about demos, and so I would say about 85. I think then me and my friend Chris Sargent started a zine, 85, maybe early 86. I don't know. Can't remember exactly, called Morbid Death, where we featured like Sacrifice and Slaughter and Death and Beyond Possession, Hatred.
Good.
Do you have any copies of those old zines?
Dude, I can show you what's left. I gave them to my friend. He said he was going to laminate them and never fucking did.
And so they're all like fucking ripped up. You know what I mean? But let me see. I have this here. It's all torn apart. Like here's like Massacre.
Oh wow!
Nice.
That's dope.
Some old pictures of them, live.
That's awesome.
That was from the first issue, and then second issue. See the damn covers on it, dude. What'd you do? You remember Corrupted Morals? That old hardcore band.
Yeah.
So we had like Aggression in there.
Wow.
How many issues you guys got up to?
I think we did 3. And a 4th one that was never released. This was awesome. Sepultura.
Sepultura.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Right before the more revisions came out.
Oof. Wow.
Dude, man, those are I think you should find a way to reissue those, man. Those are great.
You should reissue those.
Maybe they could be digitally scanned or something.
Yeah.
Social Decay.
Wow.
Yes.
Who else was in this issue? Hallows Eve, Wehrmacht, CBS, Lethal Aggression, Hell Dogs, Sacrilege.
Wow.
And look, we put little cartoons in there. Goddamn punk rockers.
That's funny.
Of sex ads from old porn mads that we probably can't show on this. Slaughter with Death. But I mean, with Jack in the band, and Necronomicon from Germany. Yeah, man, these are pretty cool little zines. Executioner before they became Obituary. Blood Kiln.
Wow. Yeah, those are like stuff like that would be worth checking them out again, man. Especially those early days where
the Morbid Angel. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me see if I got anything from the first issue here. Yeah, this from the first issue. Did a little Morbid Angel thingy. That was like Kingdom Come lineup.
Wow.
Sacrifice. So yeah, we were doing that back then, doing the zine, and then I started the band, and so when I started doing Cerebral Distortion more, the zine kind of fell to the wayside on my part, but Chris kept doing it, kept going. And of course, he was giving me a hard time, calling me lazy and pussy whip because I had my girlfriend. He's like, man,
that is women that take over.
Yeah. He's like, man, you're all lazy and pussy whipped. And I'm like, well, can't complain, you know.
Oh man, that's great. I mean, and then as far as when you did get, you know, into the heavier stuff, I mean, as far as, you know, I mean, graduating from, you know, like the Motley Crues and stuff into more of the heavy stuff, what was it like, you know, because we all grew up around family members that maybe would still like throw little knickknacks at us. How's your family with when you was into the heavier music?
You know, I was kind of lucky. My parents weren't like super religious, like they didn't go to church and all that on Sunday or anything. They believe in God and all that stuff, but my dad was like, he would bust my balls about it, but more in a ball busting way.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just like, say, oh, you like all that sacrilegious crap. What would he say? He would say, he'd call it eat shit and die music, the attitude. He would say, eat shit and die, right, boy? And I'm like, yeah, Dad, that's pretty much right. And so I was lucky that my own, parents weren't freaking out. My mom was, I'll admit it, she spoiled me. So if I wanted a Celtic Frost record, she'd be like, okay, just get it for me, no questions asked. They didn't freak out. They were some of the parents, like I had friends, dude, were fucking, their parents were fucking nerds, man. They'd be like, we don't want you hanging around with that boy no more because we didn't like his shirt, and stuff like that. And I
used to get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't like the what he looks and like that. And then they were like super religious nerds, So I'm like, hey, whatever, you can't hang around with me. That's your problem, Yeah. I got a bag of weed in my pocket and I'm gonna find somewhere to go party with it. That's what was like my attitude back then when I was like around 15, 16. We would find a party and smoke out or drink and try to hit on chicks. And before like the girlfriend came into the picture, that's what, or cause some mayhem in the neighborhood, like maybe knock over some garbage cans and vandalize some walls with pentagrams, that's what we did back in the day,
that's good stuff.
Yeah, we didn't hurt nobody, but we just had fun, Yeah, just antics and pranks. That was the main thing.
That's good. Right,
you remember the old school mailbox? Well, maybe not you guys from the city, but in the suburbs, back in the day, everyone had they had a mailbox in front of their house, right?
Yeah, that's like upstate from us too.
Okay. So we got the great idea. I'm sorry if I'm going off track with this. One's pretty funny.
All right.
You remember those 100 black cats fireworks? Like 100 of them in one big red thing.
Oh, yeah. Long string one.
Like around 2 a.m, we loaded up, like me and about 6 or 7, 8 of us. We went up and put one of those in each one of everyone's mailboxes, right? And then we lit them at the same time. Dude, it sounded like it was under attack, the whole neighborhood. And we were running laughing, and we could see people's lights coming on and all that. And then inside the mailbox, it just amplified it, it made it sound deeper and more destructive. But I mean, that was, about the most insane things we do. It's just more kids doing pranks and shit like that. This not much different what they do nowadays, except, I'm the man, like fucking, like what are them fucking kids up to outside? I'm the one looking at that where the tables are turned.
Now they use M80s.
Yes, yeah.
Fireworks, yeah.
They just literally blow up the mailbox now.
Yeah.
Quarter stick of dynamite.
Yeah. Or just come by with the shotgun and just.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because you think about those antics we did as kids. Imagine if we had what the kids got now with the social media and stuff like that. That thing, forget it.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't have that back then.
I'm not being implicated in nothing.
Yeah, you can't prove it. I could just making this all up. You can't prove this, Yeah, that's
because these fucking kids, man, they go now and they do all these stupid antics or they do all these criminal activity things, and then
they post it.
Film it.
Yeah.
Facebook.
I gotta get the clicks on my criminal activity. Come on, man. You just
making the cops' job easier.
Yeah. All right, here he is. Let's go get him.
They're jumping.
Oh, so yeah, my question to you, now that your skills started getting better and all that, and you got better, you went on tours, right?
Yeah.
What was the biggest tour that you ever, as a musician, went on?
I would have to say again the Marduk tour.
Marduk tour was the biggest.
Yeah, Marduk. It was Marduk with Or, which is right there, two killer European bands to be playing with. And then the lower bill was let me try to remember, Panzerfaust.
Wow.
Black Anvil.
Oh, Black Anvil.
They're from New York.
Yeah, New York band. Cool guys. And us, Hod. Hod was on that tour. So yeah, I would say that one was the biggest because we got to go on the tour bus with Marduk and all that. That was cool. Just hanging out, talking with them and Or. This, and of course, Bear, the ringmaster, was what do they call it, captain of ceremonies. So that was always fun. And I would say the next one after that, Toma, we did 2 weeks with Monstrosity one time.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. That was fun time too.
And how long the Marduk tour lasted?
7 days.
Oh, 7 days.
Yeah, it wasn't like a big, state. It was, where that tour, it was mainly Canada. We did Montreal, Toronto, and then we came back, and I believe we were in Detroit, Cleveland, Chicago. Chicago was fucking killer on that tour. Chicago, and then over there in New York. What I say earlier? Williamsburg?
Williamsburg.
Yeah, I believe, that's where it ended. I may have missed a date in there. I don't know for sure, but yeah, those were it was all up there, Midwest, and then the New York date.
Nice.
That was good. Good.
Yeah, we hit some big cities, and I mean, it was great for Hod because it opened a lot of eyes to us. We were just kind of starting out. So yeah, getting to go on tour with Marty, and they don't even come across much anymore. So
yeah,
we were lucky to get on that.
That's cool.
And where did you also play with? Well, I think you maybe still work with them. The Cutthroats, I think, is another band, right?
Yeah, Cutthroats. Started originally. I played bass for them, and they are straight up, punk rock. There's no like thrash or metal. Very punk rock in the Misfits vein, Poison Ideal. I would say stuff like that. It's played bass for them when I was still in Thorn Spawn, and then I started playing guitar. And they got bass player, and I haven't been playing with them lately. But with the Cutthroats, like if once you were in the band, you're always a cutthroat. Even if you're not active in a band, it's almost it's like a brotherhood, And they'll be playing, like you guys know, probably saw the flyer. They'll be playing the San Antonio show with PIOUS LEVUS. Yeah.
Nice. And just a side thing, and I'm not sure too much about this. Were you like a session player with the New Jersey black metal band Krieg?
Yes. When 99 or 2001, somewhere in there. Neil made wanted to do a live show, so I was corresponding with him back then. The U.S. black metal scene was kind of really connected back then. Us, Krieg, Judas Iscariot, and bands of that nature, Absu, and he wanted to do a live show, so he got me on guitar. Bernie from Lust from Canada, him and Neil are good friends, so he played bass, and then Blackthorn from Thornspawn on drums. Then
Wow.
I believe we played his first live shows, the Sacrifice Nazarene Child show, and God, it was early 2000s. Krieg's first live show, so we did do a set. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
All right.
Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So going off with I was with the question that Tone was mentioning about the tour. Now thinking of, back then, I mean, was there any a time with any of the bands you've ever played with that you had an opportunity to tour or to do some type of big show, whatever, and you missed it? Was there anything? And if so, which band was it?
Yes, Thornspawn. You remember way back when it was Andy from Judas Iscariot and Neil were putting together that first US black metal invade Europe tour, and it had Judas Iscariot, I believe Krieg and Inquisition.
Wow.
Yeah, I might be, Godless North too was on it from Canada, right?
Yeah.
They wanted Thornspawn to go on that tour, and each one of those bands that went on that tour kind of blew up later.
Mm-hmm.
They got big, yeah.
And we couldn't go because certain people couldn't get it together to get over to Europe, and it kind of cost. I feel like it cost us a good chance to really get our name out there. If we could have gotten on that original tour.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's usually the well, I've experienced that as well. That thing when it comes to bands and finances and stuff like that, where you have, let's say, out of the 5 members, 3 members are working, 2 are like unemployed and are trying to put in the best way they can, or you got to shell in for them as whatever.
Yeah.
We had an opportunity. When was this? This is right when our self-titled first came out, and we had it was a Polish metal festival going on because our guitarist was from Poland, so he had connections, and they wanted us to go and play that festival in the Teacup Arena in Poland. It was supposed to be all the big bands. He was like, yo, and the guy was gonna take care of us. He just wanted us to go. He said, don't worry about bringing up. They will hook us up with equipment, place to stay, food, everything. Just get there. And of course, we're doing a round trip ticket to Poland. It's not no cheap thing,
No.
And and then you got 2 guys who maybe we're not working and we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do, and then families and scheduling, and so it was like that was, I think, one of the biggest missed opportunities I could ever think about in my time. I was like, man, that would have been nice. I saw the matter of fact, who played the Teacup Arena?
Who?
Vital Remains. That video, that live video they did. Live Death, I think it's called.
Yeah,
that's in the Teacup Arena.
So it's like, well, it's probably gonna be Pro Shot and all that other stuff.
That's where. So you could imagine how I felt like.
Yeah.
Damn, because that's a it's a big thing, and we had that opportunity and we missed it.
Yeah, that's after I went through something like that where I said, damn, we really missed an opportunity. I made a point like, I'm gonna have to jam with people who got together a little more,
Yeah.
and yeah, because the same here's another one I got for you. That same person cost us November and Dismember in California.
Wow.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thornspawn was supposed to play. Everyone got their tickets and was ready to go. And then I get the phone call. I can't go. I can't do it. I broke my leg. But I found out they were lying about that later too. So,
damn.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't count on, you got to make sure it sucks, but you got to get with people if you really want to do shit, you got to make sure everyone can do it or you're wasting your time.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Cool. All right. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah. Quick question. When you were touring with the thing, so how were the places receiving your band when you guys were on tour?
Okay, that's a good question. Because sometimes, on like, let's take the Marduk tour. Sometimes they were like really fucking killer nights, and we'd sell some merch, and sometimes it was just like kind of And you just never know how it's going to go when you're that band that's not really, you know, the headliner. You're just one of the openers. Mm-hmm. So I would say for the most part, though, pretty good. You know, we would have some good shows. And then like Hod would go out and, you know, just do a string of shows, like maybe like for a week. Sometimes we do stuff like that too, and play places we, you know, little dives or whatever, and into maybe like bigger clubs and all that. But I noticed maybe more towards, you know, I would say mid-career of the band, all the reactions would be pretty damn good. Like, you know, for the most part, there'd be like sometimes be 50 people there, to be like 200 people there, depending, you know, if it was on Friday or if it was on, you know, Tuesday or Thursday or whatever.
Yeah.
But for the most part too, and it always helps too when you have a good front man who knows how to work the crowd and joke around with them and get them to laugh. He always managed to find ways to get shots for himself on stage too. So shout out to Beer for being the master of like getting free shots.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. On the side note about the beer thing, they still collecting for his the arrangements on the funeral thing?
Yeah, his GoFundMe is still going. It's if anybody, well, I guess we didn't get to it if you don't know. Bear, the singer of Hod, passed away this last January unexpectedly. So and his family lives all in different parts of the country. So we're doing a celebration of his life May 4th here in town at a place called The Mix at 2 p.m. It's going to be on a Sunday afternoon. And the GoFundMe is I believe you can just find it GoFundMe Bear Reeves. So it's the word bear, and then bear spelled backwards, Reeves, R-E-B-E-S. If you can donate to that, anyone who wants to, you can. No amount is too small, no amount's too big. You know, just if you want to, go for it, and it will help the family cover expenses for travel, final arrangements, and all these other things you have to do. You know, when these type of things happen.
Yeah, if you get a chance, man, send me the link. We'll put it in the description for anybody.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, Bear. I already did the thing, so I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it to you. Put it in the description.
Appreciate that.
Definitely.
Yep. And also, I just wanted to say that for anybody who didn't catch it, I believe it was this past Tuesday on the Witching Hour, Necron had did a special episode about a tribute to beer.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to hit back that episode,
it was very feeling. I enjoyed that episode.
It was fun. It was actually a little therapeutic for me and Marilyn. Bear's I would say long-term best friend. Marilyn was with Beer from his other band he had called Pill Crusher. I showed a song from him, just solid doom metal, and me and Marilyn had a good time, you know, talking about the good old days and laughs and, you know, the antics and everything. Yeah, good stuff.
Nice. Yeah. And so now, you know, you got all this experience from all of these bands and all these different genres, and then that leads you now to the current band that you're in, which is PIOUS LEVUS. Tell us a little bit about how that came together.
I hear music. Do you guys? Oh shit.
I heard it.
It's my phone. It came alive out of nowhere. I was like, hey. Hold on. Give me a second to clear this up.
Yeah.
All right.
I was like, man.
The phone is possessed.
Right when you said PIOUS LEVUS.
Yeah. I said PIOUS LEVUS. It's like, that was awesome.
So, so PIOUS LEVUS. That was originally started by Swarngul and Necro Inferno. And Swarngul is Link Mike, my guy I talked about earlier, you know, from my Indignation days, Thornspawn days. And then we call Necro Inferno, we'll just call him Pallone here on out because he got the bald head and it makes it easier. So him and Pallone, they had another band too they were working on, Butchered Saint, Burial Shroud. But then they started working on PIOUS LEVUS on their own, wanted to do something more black death, you know, just straight up. Really, you know, more like kind of, you know, the Thornspawn type of days, you know, music. So I went and checked them out one time. Like, you know, they were telling me, hey, you know, check this out, you might dig it. But I did, and I was like, damn, this is killer, dudes. They're like, are you guys still looking for members? They're like, dude, we were hoping you would want to jam. So it worked out. I joined on the spot, after that, checked them out, rehearse, and of course, and they're old friends of mine, so you don't even have to worry about like coming into a whole new situation, personalities. I knew they were all fucking cool dudes. So I jumped in, and it's great because the old chemistry just started kicking up again. And, it's cool. Like when you're jamming with someone and they just get your riff, you don't have to keep showing them 100 times or whatever. They just fucking know, they got the same mindset that you have on playing. So it's just easy, to flow with your music and all that. And you're not getting like hampered down trying to teach them because they don't really play that way or think that way. So started working on that with them. Instead of doing a demo, we put out a damn album, Beast of the Foulest Depths, on a very underground label, Warfare Noise, out of Houston. Then got hooked up with Aaron and Goat Throne, did an EP, Bolts of Satanic Might. Then I was in communication with Rob from Omega Vortex. He said, "Hey, let's do a split album." I said, "Well, let's fucking do it." Yeah.
That's my favorite.
So we did the split with Omega Vortex. Of course, they represented Germany and we represented the Great Republic of Texas. Put that split out, and here we are, shows, a lot of shows in between. Not as many as Hod, because Hod was insane playing shows, but Pious LEVUS is a little more selective. But Pious LEVUS is if you like this Black Death from 19 what would I say, like 88, 89, 87, somewhere in there. That's what Pious LEVUS is. It's like when the scenes were still kind of blurred between death metal and black metal. That's the kind of spirit we try, like Necrovore, Incubus, Morbid Angel, Altars of Madness, and that type of era. That's where Pious LEVUS, I feel, is coming from.
Yeah, totally. I know that when we went out to Texas to go check out those bands back in January, you were on the bill, and Francisco said, "Guys, when these guys perform, they're gonna blow you away." And Tone and I were right there in the front, man. And I can tell you, man, no bullshit. Yep. You guys did not play around. That shit was fucking hard, man.
Like, thank you. I mean, that's the point, right? We want to fucking just come out, fucking, a punch in the gut, fist in the face type of attack, and for metal, that's good, right? No fucking around. Just
that's what I like about the band.
Yeah. The people were really into it too.
Well, bro.
I remember seeing you guys, and I know I definitely remember seeing Tone and Francisco jamming out a couple of times hardcore, and I was like, damn, they're fucking getting into it. They're done. And I look in front of me, and there's some fucking Tim from Burt Baccarat. Tim was like, and I'm like, all right, this fucking show is worth playing, man. This was I got these fucking guys came down from New York to check out the show, man. How cool. That was cool of you guys. You gotta get shout outs for that. The way you guys just go around and cover different scenes around the country. That's fucking some cool shit. And I like that, because it exposes you to different scenes too, that you may not see what's going on. So shout out for doing that. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the show, man. That's what we've tried to do.
Yeah, bro. In Texas, very good time, and very, very nicely curated lineup by Francisco, and if he ever did another follow-up, we definitely be back again.
Oh hell yeah. Well, I'm sure he is. I don't know what his lineup's going to be, but I have a feeling he's going to do something.
Nice.
Bro. And the other thing too, we all became good friends. I text you. Yeah, we're friends with Francisco, Mordred, Red, the whole thing. And I love that. That's a good thing. We have friends now all over. When we travel, we chill.
Exactly. It's always cool to have friends in different cities, right? I learned that with,
exactly
with Hod, to go out and maybe Bear knows somebody. Bear always knew somebody. It's just the way it was. But it's cool because you can go fucking hang out at their house, or sometimes people cook for you, and it's just good to do that. It makes traveling a little more tolerable and a little cheaper on the wallet, if you can hang out somewhere and so we can get a hotel room. Nice.
Well, if your band ever comes up to New York, you got us three right here.
I'm gonna hit you up too. yeah, I will for sure.
Yes.
Right. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, so considering this, your evolution in your bands, playing, so on. What was the driving force at actually starting the channel? I mean, was it something where it was just more of a hobby thing? I mean, I know you said that you have another channel that you do on the side, which is something else I'll talk about eventually. I know me and Tone got some questions about that side of your channel life. But what made you go and start this and get it going the way? And considering it is to me, I think it's a very popular channel. I love your channel. It's got a nice little following. Yep. And there you go. That's right. There you go. That's it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So, what was your driving force to start the channel and get it going?
All right. Well, years ago, I had the channel, and I was just using it, to put my band stuff on it. It wasn't active, like I would say an active channel. It's just like, hey, new song come out, upload it on the channel, and that's that. I didn't so I can't say like I had my channel since 2011. Not really. So I started watching Joe Abba, and started commenting. Then Francisco invites me on the show. I go on the show a couple times. If you ever see those old ones, you can tell I'm nervous and all that because I never fucking gone on podcasts and all that. So they're funny, but I enjoyed it, and I said, "Oh, this is cool." Same time on the other end of the spectrum, the nerd spectrum, I'm on like commenting in channels and going on some of their channels, and then my friend Skywalker the Jedi decides he's going to form the cool table, what I was talking about earlier. And the reason it's called the cool table is because our opposition, they would call us the cool table sarcastically. And we said, well, okay, all right, well, we're just going to own it. We'll call ourselves the cool table. It's kind of like, just like, okay, you want to call us that, then we'll be that, and not like we sit around thinking we're really, we're so fucking cool. That's just why it was called that. Anyway, and he said, all right, but everybody needs to start doing a channel and doing their thing. And I was like, well, shit. I go, I don't really want to be doing YouTube all the time or whatever. That's funny, right? So, and he's like, nah, Necron, you're pretty good at this. You should try it, give it a shot. So I did like my first couple of witching hours. And the first one's actually a disaster because I didn't know how to do anything yet. I didn't know how to share the audio and all that. I deleted it. It is so fucking bad, dude. It's fucking terrible. But I got better at it. And so really, I would say the things that made me want to do the channel or, pushed me in a direction, definitely Francisco and Skywalker the Jedi. Those two guys were the ones that kind of pushed me. And then I started viewing it like, well, I need, do a show, like a theme. And, I did the zine and I said, well, I'll just, promote bands, promote music like I used to, like Francisco does. I can easily do that, and so that's what I wanted to do. Like, I just wanted to make a pretty much a video version of a zine that I used to do. And that's where I'm at now.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was great because
man, and considering the fact that, you pushed ahead, it is great. I mean, people, especially when you do the one where you're just playing the jams. I mean, yeah. To me and Tone talk about it all the time that he'd be at work, he'll put it on and he's listening to the music and stuff. And it's great. To me, that's the best form of radio you could have, especially when they're playing good shit, stuff that you want to listen to ad free,
Yeah. And it's funny you say that because that's what was the whole purpose of work jams. I used to work, in an actual office and had to listen to the radio stations, and it's fucking, it sucks, right? It's terrible.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? No, not. And when I started working from home, I would jam out all day. I just like put on, like I pretty much do. I put the iHot on and hit the shuffle and just start working. And I said, well, shit, maybe I should just stream this. Maybe, who knows? Who wants to jam out or not? So I just threw it up on the stream and it's called it Work Jams. And we get some people in there hanging out, talking and jamming out, pretty much doing the same thing. They're at work, just listening to some metal. That doesn't, doesn't suck most of the time, you know, except like maybe when we hit like a 20-minute outro or intro, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get this off of here. You know.
Yeah, man, because it's been good. I mean, considering with you putting out your channel and the way everything's been going, you know, as far as the community base, as far as all of us here, you know, as far as YouTube channels go, we're all friends.
Pretty much,
cool.
yeah.
You know, it's really cool that we all get to like communicate with each other, feed off each other's stuff. As a matter of fact, I got something here for you. Because I told, of course, one of our fellow YouTubers, Trevor Shredbeard, told him.
Oh yes, Trevor.
Yeah. I told him. So I always told Trevor, because Trevor did it before. I say, if I ever have somebody on, you want to ask him a little question. So he sent me a voice clip. I'm gonna play it for you.
Okay? All right, let's see what Trevor has.
Okay, I have a question for Lord Necron. Carl, what is your favorite Pius LEVUS song to play on stage? This could be a two-parter. Also, what is your favorite pre- and or post-show meal?
Okay.
Wait, that was one. Let me get the second one.
And if I may ask a third question,
No.
has the almighty famous Necron, guitarist for Pius LEVUS and many other bands, has he ever signed a pair of boobies?
Fucking Shred. All right. First one for me, and yes, I'm gonna be biased. I wrote the song Miscreant Diabolus. It's probably my favorite song to play live with Pius LEVUS. And I really enjoyed the Cannibal Corpse part in the middle. It's get a kick playing that song. And then the first part is a little Captor's Sin, if you haven't noticed, with the guitar solos and all that, and the way it riffs out, and then to get a little Angel Corpse in the blast beats. So that's probably my personal favorite to play. Favorite after meal dinner, 9 times out of 10 is going to be Whataburger, because it's the only thing open 24/7. You know, get you either go inside or get it to go or whatever. But I usually get some Whataburger after a show, especially here in Texas. Now, when we're traveling, you know what was funny? We would hit up Carl's Jr.'s a lot when we were traveling.
Wow.
But and you know what? I'm going to say this. I have a road breakfast that's my favorite, and that's Waffle House. I love I love Waffle House. It gets a bad rap, and I get that all-star special every fucking time, dude. And waffle, eggs, and bacon, and some orange juice. You're good to go for the rest of the day. So we always hit a Waffle House, and it's cheaper too than a Denny's or another place. And what was it? Have I ever signed it? I have not signed a pair of boobies because if I did one right now, currently, I would probably be murdered by my wife. But in all fairness, hers are enough to handle just on their own. So I will say that as well. So
that's right. It's good to hear. Good to hear.
Yes, I'm a happy camper. I ain't gonna lie. All right. So yeah, there you go, Shredbeard.
Go ahead, Tone.
All right. So I know you're huge into black metal, right? So
yes, sir.
What are your favorite US black metal bands?
All right, we're gonna go active and inactive then. So Judas Iscariot.
Yes, good one.
And his other band, well, can we consider Sarcophagus black metal? I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I like that one a lot, Krieg. But the pinnacle is Absu. I fucking Absu. I love Absu. Great. Just legendary. So those are probably like my top 3. And then there's things like Demon Sea, Bro Fanatica.
I love Demon Sea.
Yeah. And there's, let me think. Who else is on? Cult of Azazel, Julian's old band. I love that one.
Wow.
Too.
Yeah. I have one of their CDs. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. good stuff. I guess maybe I'm into the more, what was that be like 90s, late 90s, early 2000 US black metal scene. That's probably where I get into it the most from that era. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Oh, my second part of that question is your favorite European black metal bands. Marduk is one.
Marduk for sure.
Out for and pick other.
All right, some newer ones like I fucking love Evil Feast for sure. Evil Feast. Yeah, I'm blanking, dude. I mean, like all the classics. Okay, I'm gonna say like Dissection, Mayhem, the Black, the Satherial. A lot of that stuff back then. Satanic War Master and all the werewolf stuff.
Yeah.
I think all that's killer. Archgoat? Does that count? Yeah, we're gonna say Archgoat. Archgoat's fucking.
Yeah, war metal, black metal is fine. Yeah.
Who else? But still, I mean, my favorite is I'm looking in my room like, dude, I fucking forget. Omega Vortex. I mean, and I don't know if they're considered black metal, probably not. But I'm gonna shout out shit like Omega Vortex, Malicious from Finland. Tino just turned me on this band. I fucking getting into HAR, HAR.
Wait, that one? The
HAR?
last, yeah.
Is that how you say that? I don't even know if that it's HAR.
Because I think I have that.
It's on Dark Descent.
Yeah.
HAR, and I was like, damn, this is fucking cool. So yeah. I didn't say this earlier, but see, I'm remembering Warhammer 666 for modern American black metal.
Yeah, that's true.
He's putting out some killer shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's straight up black metal. There's no way to confuse that as anything other than black metal.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I gotta say this real quick because of your show, the Witching Hour. I moved today, so I have everything packed away, but I had a whole section. My cousin knows that I call it the Necron section.
Oh no shit!
that I hear new from your show that I've never heard before. Yeah, I like the purchasing it. I put it in the Necron section.
Nice.
Right now it stands at 53 albums. I got
53.
Yes.
I can't even name 10 bands off the top of my head. You got 53 bands. That's awesome, Tone. That's cool, man. I appreciate that. Fuck yeah.
Thank you for the Witching Hour. I love that show. That's my top show there. Bro.
All right.
Yeah.
One for the Witching Hour.
Wait. Necron, the thing with my cousin is that he likes to pound them back. So the more he pounds them back and the more music you play, the more purchases he makes. He's just like, he's buying it as you're playing them.
He's hitting up those band camps and those distros.
Even better if they're all on the same label. Forget about it. That's when Tone already taught me about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you get the shipping discount if you get them all from the same.
Yep. That's it. One big shop.
And it's hard, and it's kind of hard to get Tone now because Tone's also one of the people I would look. He'll tell me about certain bands and I look into them and stuff and catch up because I'm still sort of a black metal newbie. I think I've liked some black metal in the past, but nothing as much as what I do now. So when I started getting back into vinyl, that's when I started getting more harder into like the the more so I started you see my videos, I go on eBay and I go crazy. And when Tone sees it, yo, Bear, where'd you get that one from? So I feel honored. I'm like, oh yeah, I got something he doesn't know about. Yeah. I get excited.
You're like, the student has become the master.
Yeah, I get all excited, man. It's like, yo, Bear, where'd you get that, man? And I'm like, yeah, he doesn't know.
Yeah. That's great.
Real quick, Nick, how many I've always wanted to ask you, how many songs does your iPod have?
Oh, good question.
Because I call it the iPod from hell, man.
Let's see if it tells me.
It should say it in the back of it, right? Is it an the older one?
It's not super old, but I believe this one's 160 or 180 gigs. I can't remember.
Wow.
So you're in the thousands. You probably got in the thousands.
Yeah, I'm in the thousands for
It was definitely the thousands.
Has to be the thousands. That jams
because even with a 64 gig, you could hold about 5,000 songs.
Does it tell me how many songs?
Yeah,
I would have to plug it in because I had it with me cruising earlier, jamming out.
So if you figure,
there's just too many.
Yeah, the 64 gigs, you could hold about 5,000 songs. I can imagine when he holds on that.
Yeah, this is like they call it the iHod. I still call it the iHod classic.
Those are great.
I believe this is the one that had the most fucking gigs that you could put on there.
Those were great. And
that's the last one that I got.
Yeah. I mean, I know why, because everybody streams, but no, I'm like nerdy that way. Like I still want something that has it on there. You know, I don't want to count on, the internet. Like I still have this. They're there, my jams.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, Rich. Yeah.
Yeah. In closing with the scene and the bands and stuff like that, I think I read an article years ago that you or maybe other band members had like Blaspherian and Judas Goat and bands like that at the time were like, upcoming. Who do you consider bands now that, let's say people like us on the East Coast that might not know too much from the Texas scene, or just in general, anything that really strikes, with you personally, what bands we should kind of look out for that you feel stand
that's a good
out?
Question. All right. Well, internationally, I mean, you guys might already know these. I don't know. Profanation from France. That I'm fucking blown away by their Skull Fucking Violence CD, or I believe that's what it's called. I have it somewhere. Yeah. Skull Crushing Violence. Sorry, I'm thinking of Impiety. This one is one of my favorites so far.
You play that yesterday, right? Was it last night? Yeah.
I play that all the time, probably.
Yeah.
And then I think I have this one over here. This band from Finland, you may know or may not know, Malicious. I brought them up earlier. This shit's psychotic, man. Good stuff. And let's think from Texas, Black Jackal. They're like they're on Aaron's label. They put out a whole album. They're more in the midnight style, black thrash stuff like that. But good band. Good kids. You guys know about Hexea?
Of course, of course.
ETD, you know all that. You came and saw them. So who else locally? Because damn, San Antonio. That's one thing I always say. San Antonio needs to step it up band wise.
Maybe Dork Angel, you forgot to mention.
Dork Angel,
yeah,
the king.
King of Texas now.
The king of Texas, right?
Yeah, the king. He feels he's ready to headline Hell's Heroes next year. So we'll see, King. This one too. Jeff, when he was on my show, Death Pulsation on Calgary Records. This shit is ripping. Some Swedish like Nicovorish worship, Black Death. I'm into this one, man. This one.
Yeah, really I heard it that when you played it the last, I ordered it off of Bandcamp.
There you go. That's why I ordered mine. When Jeff showed me, I was like, "Oh, okay, I gotta get me a copy of this. I want this in the collection."
That's
nice,
right.
Nice. Necron, I wanted to ask you, just out of curiosity, have you ever seen Necrovore live?
Yes.
Wow. So how was that experience?
Mind altering for me. Yeah. They were I seen them live. I got to see them rehearse back in the day too. And that was a really great experience. And Chris Sargent, the guy I did the zine with, he was tight with them back then. Like he interviewed them for the zine and all that. Did a lot of promoting for them. So he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to Nicovore practice. You want to go with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll pick you up," because he didn't drive. So we went. It was like Javier lived in the deep west side of San Antonio, which is like a harder side of town. They'll say, So me and Chris were two north side white boys lost on the left side, looking for the house.
Yeah.
We found it. went in, I kind of knew Javier prior. This is, before he was in Indignation or any of that. And didn't know any of the Knickerbocker guys yet. They were, from what I remember, they were cool. They're just, hey, what's up, and then Jesus, dude, I never heard anything like it. Like I heard it, but there's nothing different because I saw him practice before I saw him live. And just from John's first roar, dan, yeah, like it was in a little like in San Antonio, there's a lot of little like garages outside on the side of the house, not connected to it. And that's where they were practicing. And that fucking building shook. But he fucking screamed, dude. It was just, they had like a full fucking PA in there, full stack. The drums were all mic'd into the PA, so it sounded good. And it was loud. And I was like, so I was, what was I, maybe like 17? Yeah, 17 or so. My little fucking ass was blown away. And I was like, holy shit. I gotta go back to the drawing board because this, I mean, I just, I saw next level shit live in person, as a kid. I was like, I couldn't even comprehend. I was playing a little crossover band, and these dudes are coming out with fucking Black Death that's has never been heard before. So yeah, it was my mind was blown by Necrovore. That's why I'm still always praising them, always giving them their due because they were so fucking far ahead. A lot of people don't even know that Dave Vincent once was quoted as saying there was only one band that Morbid Angel was afraid of, and that was Necrovore. Well, like surpassing them, as the death metal band back then. But he got lucky that Necrovore couldn't keep a lineup, or they might have. Who knows? That's why I saw it with my own eyes back then. When when you're back in it, and you guys know this, you're older. It's not like people who weren't there and they try to talk about it. It's harder for them to really grasp because when you're there and you're in it, there's a difference. You see it. It's organic and it's not like a history lesson in a damn classroom. You're living that fucking real moment in time. And Necrovore was definitely ahead of themselves.
Nice.
Great.
Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, so I got sort of it's like maybe a two-parter here. I could throw it all together, and you could just answer as it goes. Drucifer did a video today, and I did one similar. That whole thing that happened with Danzig. I'm sure you've heard about it with the
what
thing.
Yeah, aren't they trying to cancel him for all his old
with the merch that he has? That it has. Yeah, it's a Nazi symbol, whatever. So my question is, and like I said, it has to do with the fact that metal itself, especially the underground, do you feel it's getting too soft when it comes to now everything being controversial is becoming a big deal? And I'll ask you the second one right after you answer.
Okay. I don't think metal's becoming too soft. The problem is too many soft people are in metal, and they shouldn't be.
Well, let me clap for this.
Yeah. Because it was never meant for people like that. What the fuck are you doing metal if you're offended by things just because it's considered the bad guys of World War II? I won't say the word because I don't want to get algorithm on y'all. But
all right, I already said it a few times, so it don't matter.
But yeah, it's just so ridiculous to Glenn Danzig is not some fucking Nazi. We all know this at some point. Yes, it's edgy to wear the stuff, and whatever, and to look a little edgy. And there are metalheads and bands that are straight up racist and all that. And then there's bands, that they get lumped into that because I'm like, pagan past, using things like that. But honestly, dude, I think that's some big pussy shit, trying to cancel a band because you don't like what they have. What happened to the days if you didn't like it, you just did things you liked? Why are you trying to ruin other people's shit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I hate it. I think too many soft people are in the metal, that especially extreme metal. Like, I'm sorry, you cannot bring your left. I want to say left because then that's not even fair. your life
Political.
affirming, yeah, your life affirming, positive values to something that's black metal is supposed to, be the most negative fucking thing, burn it all fucking down at all costs type music. And yeah, a lot of it's, like obviously lyrical fantasies, right? We get it. It doesn't mean, I fucking like want to go and fucking burn down everybody's church or whatever. I don't, I don't really care anymore. Maybe back in the day, I was like, a little fuck them all. And now I was like, yeah, do whatever you want. Just don't fucking, don't, as they say, don't tread on me. You do your thing. I do my thing. Cool, whatever. So, but I never like would go to a church and stand outside with signs protesting them or all that. I think that's like, don't you have better things to do with your time than trying to stop other people things that they enjoy?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. I think these people, they must take themselves so serious. They must get on the fucking TV and just shiver in fear at all the things that's going on in the world. It's like, man, you gotta live. And they're always out, things that are trying to make you scared or this and that. Don't be a pussy, man. Fuck it. Just, do your thing. I know that's kind of like all over the place answer, but
no,
it really upsets me that people still do this in this day and age. And it's really more annoying when it comes from people, the punks and all that who used to be the most politically incorrect people as I remember them back in the day. And now it's like coming from groups like that. It's kind of a bummer to see that.
Yeah, it's very hypocritical in that aspect, I think, because it's like, the whole point of metal when we were kids, it was the rebellion part of it.
Yes.
Rebellion. You wasn't trying, anything they were trying to impose on you, you didn't, you were trying to shoo away of all that shit. And now you're getting offended because of it. So fucking what?
It was like the point back when we were kids, right? It was like you kind of wanted to have the most offensive shirt.
Yeah.
You wanted to have, because it was metal. You wanted to, challenge the status quo and things like that. And now how can you say you're an anarchist and you tell people to behave? Right? What the fuck are you talking about? You're an anarchist supposedly, but you want everybody to fall in line to your what you think is acceptable and not acceptable. And it's fucking dumb.
Yeah. And now the second part of the question was considering that we established that you're saying it's people in the music who are soft and making it bad for everybody else. Do you put that on maybe particular bands or certain genres that are maybe throwing that stuff in there where maybe these genres of people are into this shit and then they try to spread it out to these other genres and mix it in there and fuck it up for everybody?
Well, let's go back in the past. A lot of the early UK scene was very, left-wing political, Napalm Death and all that. But even so, I never really saw them guys like go after, bands or say things about bands because, they obviously like, metal. They wear Celtic Frost shirts and, whatever, Possessed, Repulsion and all that. So, that was, really they have, they went after real targets like corporations and things like that, not metal bands, like what the hell is Graveland gonna really do to hurt anyone? No, they're not. They just want to play. They, if you want to like go after and you're some like super, let's say, I mean like things, but like some woke commie punk rocker, why don't you go after Donald Trump and his cronies or something? Why are you attacking like metal bands? They're not doing anything, and you're not going to change any of the listeners' minds on. If you like Graveland, you're going to like Graveland. You like Burzum, you're going to like Burzum no matter what. I don't think anyone like gets the Graveland lyric sheet or the Burzum lyric sheet And it's board, and board. Oh, here's something, that's racial. Yay. No one fucking does that. And no one's fucking doing that. And if they are, that's a total fucking retard. But anyway, so I think it comes from too, unfortunately, a lot of the younger people, because the way they've been indoctrinated into, things in society and values taught to them. And they're getting it all twisted up on the wrong things. Yeah. It's weird. It's like, like we all, when we were younger, we had like, it was just like more tolerance for things, because it was just like, really no big deal. But they live in this weird black and white world, only this, only that. There's no shades of gray on anything. It's like, dude, you get out in the real world, it doesn't work that way.
Nope.
Yeah.
It is not a black and white world. It's all type of little things and things you have to understand, unspoken rules, and and so just how you react in social situations that are unspoken and all that. And it's almost like they don't even know what the real world is, to be so caught up in something so frivolous.
I always say it's like a spaghetti western. Everybody wears a gray hat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And stuff.
Oh, you're next, right?
Yeah.
You got something else?
All right. So now we're going to switch it up a bit here. We're going to bring it up to the dun 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 dun.
What's up?
The quick Godzilla question here.
Oh shit.
And stuff. Now, I would like to know from you, what are your 3 favorite Godzilla movies from the past? Not
any of the current stuff, right?
No.
Okay. Are we gonna go back to like are we stopping at 80? Are we?
You can hit 90s.
Okay, because I like that era a lot too.
Yeah.
So Godzilla versus the Smog Monster.
That's what. Yeah. That one.
Destroy All Monsters, because it had everybody in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then from the 80s, what was it? Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, Mecha King Ghidorah, the one where
he has the plates.
Oh yeah,
where they mech out Ghidorah at the end and bring them back.
Yeah.
That one's, and I know you said 3. Wow, man, you know what? I'm gonna take out Destroy, and I'm gonna add Godzilla versus Destroyer.
Destroyer was good.
Destroyer is real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a worthy opponent.
Yeah. And my last question for this particular Godzilla, what do you think of the American versions of the Godzillas from now? The ones
I know a lot of people hate on them. I like them. I think they're good summer popcorn movies, and they do check the marks of just wanting to watch giant monster battle. I mean, people who get onto the plots, I'm like, what did you see the plots of the ones from the 70s and the 80s? They're not like, Oscar winning plots here. There's, so I enjoy them. I'm not a hater of the American Godzilla movies. I go see them every time they come out. Is he my favorite? No, not even, but I still enjoy it. Yeah. You know what, Tone? I really enjoyed Godzilla King of Monsters with the King Ghidorah and Rodan in them.
Yeah, that was good.
Have more Rodan, man. They showed them one time and that's it.
Which one?
Rodan. They brought him more into the movies.
Oh, well, yeah, they could have done a little more.
Yeah.
When they came out, though, it was pretty badass. Like when Rodan came from the fucking volcano.
Yeah.
And was tearing up the city, and then fucking with the planes and all that, Air Force. I thought that was cool. And Ghidorah was pretty. He was going to take out Godzilla until Godzilla decided to do the nuclear meltdown weapon on him. If he didn't have that, it would have been all over for Godzilla, I think.
It was good. It was good, man. I liked it. I liked it the first 2. Now the King Kong Godzilla ones, I'm like, I don't know. I got King Kong with this Iron Fist and all this other stuff is getting a little.
It got a little cartoony with the power fist, and I was like, was that made for toys so they could sell more toys? Like, come on, guys, what's up?
But it's funny, kids nowadays don't even buy toys anymore. Everybody's on the what you call they play video games.
Yep.
more electronic stuff than back when we were growing up. We had the GI Joe.
We were in the toy section. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, when I go to buy my McFarlane figures, because that's really like, or a Godzilla thing here and there, all you do is see a bunch of old farts looking through them too. There's a bunch of dudes, old men, fighting for their Batman figure or whatever. You never see the kids in there.
Yeah, those Spawn figures.
Yeah, Spawn. Yep.
Yeah, years ago, because I work construction, we built his first office in Broadway.
Who's that?
For McFarlane.
Oh, McFarlane. Oh, wow.
When he had
cool.
left Image Comics, he went on his own and he started doing the figure. We built his office, and then in the end, he was bringing all those figures. At that time, it was Spawn and all of those what you call figures he had coming in before. I think he was doing the sports figures too,
and the movie monsters.
Yeah.
I would buy some of those back in the day. The Crow and Freddy Krueger and Leatherface. He made some good figures.
The Leatherface came out nice. I like the Leatherface one came out.
Yeah.
And so, Rich, you got it?
Cool. I just wanted to just throw something out for some of the viewers that say, hey, why are these guys talking about metal? And they just started talking about Godzilla. It's because Necron is a big Godzilla fan and collector. And so I know Tone wanted to bring that up, and we wanted to find out his perspective. But my question is, keeping it along the lines with movies, you're a horror fan, right?
Yeah, especially 80s. That's like my pen, my area. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, what are some offhand some of the early ones, or the ones that really stand out with you that are some that are your Necron go-tos?
Okay. For horror films, I mean, I know like some people got the super duper underground, cannibals movies and all that. But for me, I'm gonna go with the tried and true, man. I love The Thing. I don't know if that's considered a horror, but I fucking just love that movie.
Thing, classic.
The Fog.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
both John Carpenter.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm down John Carpenter lane here, man. Prince of Darkness, all that stuff. I like that stuff a lot. I like the slashers. I like the Freddy Krueger. Original Nightmare is still like so fucking good.
Yes.
I mean, yes, it got hokey, later, but the first one's great, man. Mm-hmm. The first couple of Friday 13th films, I liked all of them, and I'll still watch the silly shit, Freddy in space and all that. I don't. They got crazy, but the Halloween films. But my favorite Halloween film is actually Halloween 4. I like that one. Yeah, with the daughter, the granddaughter, I should say, right?
That's his niece.
Yeah. That was his niece. Yes. Okay. Thank you. That one had some great cinematography in it. Like if you look at it, like on top of the house and the fog and the scene in the truck they really did some good shit in that movie. And then over on the more supernatural side, I'll go like The Howling.
I love that. Yeah, The Howling is great.
And of course, American Werewolf in London too. I like that, but I'm gonna give it from The Howling for like my total favorite werewolf movie. And then Hammer horror movies. I love that fucking genre. Like Christopher Lee, Dracula, and Curse of the Werewolf, the Frankenstein movies, because the Hammer horror was so good at mixing the sex and violence. You had the voluptuous women in them, and then then you would have Dracula doing all his shit, and it's just great shit to watch like when you're a fucking kid. Saturday afternoon watching the creature feature double feature that they used to do, and you catch those movies and all that. So I got into that because at first I didn't know. I only knew about Bela Lugosi Dracula, and I liked all the Universal stuff as a kid. I grew up reading Famous Monsters and all that, but and they would show those, but then they never really show the fucking Hammer horror stuff, and then they finally started showing that on TV, and I was hooked. Like the horror Dracula, Dracula's Risen from the Grave, on all that stuff. And I always liked the Hammer stuff too because they made it kind of satanic, right? They always threw it in, there'd be some type of devil worship or Devil Ring. Not like,
Yeah.
So yeah, Hammer Heart for sure. Big. And modern movies. I mean, dang. I don't know, man. The only one that really caught my eye, like in the last, like I guess, decade, was Sinister. I like that one a lot.
Oh, Sinister. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
What about this?
What about Terrifier?
You know, I haven't watched Terrifier yet. I haven't watched any of them. I know
Oh.
Poser Alert, and I know they're available. I just haven't watched them. Do you like them, Tone?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Love 'em.
I-
You know what?
fun.
Let me see you this way. Like me and my cousin always talk about it because we went to see the first one together. We like the first and second, but now it's getting like Friday the 13th and what you call Nightmare on Elm Street. Now they're taking the character to. It's still gory and a lot of kills, but it's getting a little out there now. Like they
did with the other ones because they're running out of ideals, so they got to come up with all this crazy stuff.
Now is but the first two classics.
All right, I would check them out. I'll put them on one day when I'm working. If you don't see work jams, you know what I'm doing. I'm watching a movie or something else. That's the only reason.
That'd be good.
Barry, you got
Oh yeah. So let me get to my again, we are all fellow metalhead geeks over here. And and just like you, I have a geek channel called This Sith Lord is a Metalhead, which I haven't rarely been on. Matter of fact, Rich sent me a message. Yo, man, are we gonna do anything? We haven't done any updates because I've been basically more hardcore on this channel.
Yeah.
So I can understand all that, but I'm gonna throw something at you anyway. Well, considering Tone mentioned Godzilla, real quick before I get to my main questions, what did you think of Godzilla -1? Did you get to watch it?
Fantastic. I fucking love Godzilla. Saw it in theaters when it came out. Just what a great film. Well, I mean, they actually cared about the human characters in it for once.
Yeah, that was my thing with that they actually gave us a real good human story.
Yeah, where you were engaged in it.
Yeah.
And on top of it, you're reading subtitles.
Yeah.
You know, that's how good that movie is. That you're gonna sit there and read the story because it's that good. And you're gonna sit there and read the subtitles and you're gonna care about what happens to these people. And Godzilla was just malevolent in that movie too. There was no other way of shaping it. He was just a big old mean radioactive lizard. You know, he wanted to do damage. He was kind of evil.
Yeah, that scene with he was chasing the boat where they were trying to shoot that.
Yeah,
that was that's horrifying to think about something like that.
And he's like doing it where he's just, he's messing with him. He was toying with him. He didn't even, like he almost looked like he was smiling when he was chasing him. And you're right. They're just this little boat and this giant monsters just showing. That had like good tension too, right? You're in the seat of you're on the edge of your seat, like holy shit, that movie was great. I love that.
I'm just scared. I'm hoping, considering with the popularity it had, I'm hoping they are going to do a second one.
It's
hoping it doesn't get screwed up. I mean, considering the whole popularity of it, and now they might try to add too much into it. I'm just hoping they don't do that.
Yeah, well, I think it's at least under the umbrella of the writer director of the first one, so hopefully he keeps it as the same type of tone of the -1. But I heard there's going to be another monster. I don't know, we'll see.
You know what's good about that he only used that I say that some of these Hollywood so-called movies, they only spend $10 million to make that Godzilla.
Yeah.
To the and look at how great the special effects and stuff was looking at compared to these $200 million movies they're making now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it goes to show how much money is just bloated on Hollywood budgets. Like, like I don't know, get Elon in there looking at the budgets, and I'm sure you can find the shit to get rid of, and your movie's going to go down, $50 million at least. I don't know.
If I find like $10 million worth in bagels, where was this at?
Yeah,
bagels.
Who's ordering all this fast food 3 times a day? Just one time,
Well, other than that, of course, we're all me and Tone were. Well, I'm not no more a big avid comic collector. I still got my collection, still got my stuff there. I'll ask you this: give me your 5 best comic book titles.
Oh wow! All right, well, that's no easy answer right there. So I'm gonna go Conan the Barbarian. Yeah, Conan off the bat. Yep. And then I'll go Batman / Detective Comics, because I'm a big Batman fan.
Detective Comics were always the best ones.
Yeah. Detective was the better run of the two for sure. All right, what's that? 2? I gotta go with my girl Lady Death. I love Lady Death back, especially those 90 ones where they drew her properly. Amazing. So we're gonna go Lady Death, and then you guys might be shocked, but I'm a Superman Action Comics fan. I'm a DC guy. I'm a DC guy.
Action Comics was again same thing like Detective Comics. They just told the better stories.
Action Comics was better. Yeah.
Action Comics, and let me see Punisher.
Oh yeah.
I love Punisher.
Max? Yeah.
Well, Max. Punisher Max is the best. Yeah, for sure. But you know that original when back in the 80s, the original 6-issue miniseries where he came back and he blew up in the comic world.
That was in mid 80s. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, before the actual series started, they did that little mini series. That was a good little comic storyline too.
Was.
And the War Journal.
The covers were crazy.
War Journal was good. That was a good run. Micro, that dude was cool in the comics.
Yep. That was a good run on that one.
Hey, what'd you think of that Punisher movie? Like all the different movies, which ones do you guys like best?
Warzone for me.
Yeah, okay.
Warzone,
yeah.
Warzone.
I mean, I have a special place for the Dolph Lundgren one. I mean,
me too. That's a good action movie.
I people tend to, criticize it and stuff like that. And, I remember when I first watched it, and of course, as a Punisher fan or the comics, you're going to sit there like, it's not, they didn't do nothing what he should have been in the comics.
They didn't give him the uniform.
Yeah, but as far as the movie itself and the violence and the way I thought it was cool. If if you didn't title it The Punisher, it was still it was a good movie to watch.
Yeah,
yeah, I enjoyed it. I got the unrated DVD of it with the unrated cut. Yeah, man, it got some good violence. He's blowing heads apart, and that's cool, man.
Rich got to see it in the theater, the uncut version.
Oh, no shit, Rich?
Yeah.
When I was on vacation one summer in Puerto Rico, there was a Grindhouse theater, and I didn't even know that a Punisher movie was coming out. And I saw the poster, and I told my uncle, I really want to see this. So we came back and we saw it, and I saw the uncut version in Puerto Rico, subtitled.
Very cool, dude.
Yeah, and then years, like about years later, a friend of mine in college was able to get a bootleg version of the uncut. But then when it came out on DVD, it was kind of like cut up so that you wouldn't see the violent scenes.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Also, what was it called? The Warzone one was the one with Kevin Nash too.
Yeah,
that
Kevin Nash was
wrestler who played Punisher that passed away. I think he passed away.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's the one I go to. Like as when I went, I like the one they did with before that with what's his name, something
Thomas Jane, something like that.
Something like that.
Travolta was
the bad guy.
The bad guy in it. Yeah.
I just think that one just lacked the action. It was a lot of dialogue in that movie where Warzone, like it nailed what the Punisher was. He's this violent vigilante blowing up bad guys. And I mean, remember that scene? Those guys, they were jumping from building to building, listening to hip hop, and
Yeah.
And then it just explode in midair. What the fuck? The Punisher's over there with a rocket launcher. I was like, that movie had some funny shit like that in it, man.
All right, so
What do you think of the new Punisher?
Oh yeah, what do you think about him? Yeah, John Barenthal.
John Barenthal. I think he's great. I like those Netflix Punisher shows, and I'm looking. And I watched that Daredevil Born Again. I think it's pretty good, man. I don't know where all this hatred for it's coming from. I was like, kind of reminds me of the other Daredevil, and he can do more shit with the budget. Like he's doing a lot more rooftop like flips and flying around and all that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. More to Punisher on that for sure.
Definitely.
I think he does a good job.
Yeah. They're supposed to do some type of spin-off. I think they're gonna try to. I think they were supposed to give him a one-shot movie. I think they said something.
Yes.
I hope so.
Yeah, he's supposed to get his like the Werewolf by Night special. He's supposed to get something like that.
Yeah.
Which that was fucking killer.
Yeah, that was good. That Werewolf by Night was really good. I
enjoyed that.
I was very.
If you like that comic, then you should have no problem with that.
I used to collect that comic.
Yeah, Werewolf by Night. That was a good
dude. I used to have such a massive comic collection, but I traded them for like guitars and things like that. I wish I had a full fucking run of Werewolf by Night, the Tomb of Dracula, the Frankenstein monster. I had all those, man. Damn. But I had to get, fucking American-made BC Riches and trade my
Metal took over.
Metal took over.
Here's my final geek question for you.
Okay, all right.
Give me 5 comic or sci-fi movies you feel they should be making live action.
Oh, damn, that's a good idea. All right. I would love to see a modern take on Inframan, the Man Beyond Bionics. Like that done like seriously with the technology we have now. I think that would be some fucking wild shit.
Yeah.
A Devilman live action movie.
That would be interesting. I would
like that.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And they definitely need to continue Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I think so.
Sells DSAL, the Netflix, sells Snyderverse and Netflix. I snuck that in. Hashtag that, because what a nightmare we're having in the future with this other Superman stuff and the way DC looks like it's going. I want to see some serious R-rated Zack Snyder Justice League stuff again. So yeah, that's what they should be doing.
I think what they should do is a Ghost Rider movie, a proper Ghost Rider movie.
Dude, they were talking about like Marvel branching out and having like their own, Marvel Monsters universe, the whole supernatural end. And I don't know what happened to it, because originally Werewolf by Night was supposed to kick all that off.
Yeah,
they were supposed to do the Midnight Suns.
Yes, the Midnight Suns. Yeah, they were. The Darkhold and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anything much. That would rule, with Werewolf and Blade and Dracula and all the Marvel monsters getting their own stuff. Yeah, that's a good. I should have said that too. That's a good one. Marvel Monsters is probably my favorite Marvel stuff over the superhero stuff. I love their monster stuff.
Yeah.
Especially the Tomb of Dracula was very well written.
Great.
Yeah.
That was a great story. You ever see that manga of it?
Who?
There's a it's on YouTube too. Look it up. It's a manga, and they basically used the Tomb of Dracula. And he looks like the Tomb of Dracula too.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What else you got there, Tom?
You got anything, Tom?
All right. Let me see. My last question. All right. If you if you could go on tour now, right, with any band, what band would you love to have a tour with?
Now, does it have to be an active band or just anything? Or
it could be an active band or not.
No, do it. Split it into 2, Tom. Yeah, a non-active band and a current band. Yeah, 2 tours.
Okay. All right. non-active band, definitely be Nickervore. To go on tour at Nickervore, that is like a fucking icing on the cake of my metal life. So that for sure. And I already did Marduk. That was like a life achievement just for me personally. And who would I like to go active? You know what, man? I would say just because I'm friends with them, and I think it'd be a good mix. I'll go Mega Vortex.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
Yeah,
that would be a nice tour.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a cool little tour. Since we did the split and then do a tour with them, that'd be fucking cool.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it then, right? Get both
because I split it.
out there
It is
playing.
fire, man.
Yeah,
Playing, I play it a lot. That split. Both bands.
Do you have their full length Black Abomination spot?
The what? That's good.
The full length of Mega Vortex, Vortex Black
Oh,
Abomination.
I have it on CD.
Okay, good. That's a good album.
Yeah, I couldn't get it on vinyl. I don't even think I think they did press it on vinyl, but it sold out or not because I can't find it.
I got a vinyl copy.
Yeah,
it is on vinyl. It probably sold out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
What you got, Rich?
Yeah, I know that we're getting close to the witching hour on no intended. We're wrapping up. So I wanted to find out if you can tell us, important information so that people out there could keeping on track with the things that you're working on, like any band camps or social media or any ways that we could stay in contact with LEVUS and the best ways to stay in touch.
All right, if you want to follow what's going on the Witching Hour, the best way to do that is subscribe to the Witching Hour Midnight Instagram page.
Mm-hmm.
So just look up Witching Hour Midnight. That's me. That'll keep you pretty much posted on everything going on that I have currently. And then if you want to get more specific, the PIOUS LEVUS Instagram and Facebook. Mm-hmm. And if you're interested in like something, whenever something happens with HOD, no matter what it is, like when the reissues are announced or whenever, or bear information, the HOD Facebook is pretty much anything going on with that. Always posted on there here going forward. So, but yeah, the main one is the Witching Hour Midnight on Instagram, because I always announce when I'm doing a show on there or repost flyers or whatever. That's the main one to check into.
Gotcha. And now that you just mentioned flyers, if you could tell us maybe some upcoming shows that you have. I know you mentioned them, but if you have the dates or the locations coming up.
Okay, the next PIOUS LEVUS show is going to be June 7th here in San Antonio, and it's going to feature, in no particular order, us, PIOUS LEVUS, Hexea, ETD, and the Cutthroats. So you're going to get punk, death, black metal, grindcore. Yeah, we're covering all bases that night.
Nice.
Yeah. And I can guarantee it's going to be a fucking fun show.
Hell yeah!
You guys saw most of the bands, and you throw in the Cutthroats. Joe Cutthroat's another great front man, entertaining as well. So it'll be a good show. That's here in San Antonio, a club called High Tones on June 7th. And I can't say yet, but we're gonna have one more show, most likely in July. I'll be announcing it soon. We'll be it'll be a touring act show, and we'll be one of the openers on the San Antonio date.
Nice. So look out for that one.
Yeah. Cannot say it yet because it's not totally official.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, you got anything else, Barry, there?
Yeah, well, before I go, I always give this cheesy question to everybody, so I'm just going to give it to you too.
All right.
Give me five members that that you want to start a super group with, including yourself.
Okay.
That are alive. And give me all from drummer, singer, guitarist, bassist, everything that you would want to start a band with, dead or alive.
All right, cool. I'm going to think. All right. Obviously, me on guitar.
Sweet.
D. Pache from Nickelbore on guitar and vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Drums. Now let me think. I'm gonna throw an oddball, but I just love, maybe not like a big name, but you guys will know. And his era drumming fucking ruled. But I'm gonna do Frederick Anderson, Marduk era on drums.
Yes.
Panzer Division, come on, he fucking. And then the other album was phenomenal drumming. Just the stamina of that guy, his double, the blast beats, the rolls, the slow parts, just fucking top notch. Bass is gonna be tricky, but I'm gonna be sneaky. You know who I'm gonna sneak in on bass because I can get him to do backing vocals? Pete Helmkamp.
Okay.
So I believe that's it, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, unless you still want to throw in a vocalist just because just so you can have a vocal just a vocalist. Who would it be?
Yeah.
You know what, man? Okay, just a by himself vocalist. Let's go Legion.
Oh, that's the best vocalist of Marduk.
Yeah, let's go Legion.
All right, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. But that's all for me. You guys are all good. Rich, Tone.
I got one more question.
Go ahead, Tom.
Well, this one comes from the Bronx Ripper. He wants to know about Necrowolf. Where is he?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah,
all right.
What the hell? Yo, what's going on with Necrowolf?
Necrowolf, I believe, is hiding low because all these deportations. And I think he's afraid of getting kicked back to the old country. So he's hiding low because he's like, don't call this phone. Just I'm gonna send you a beeper number every once in a while. He's gone to beepers. He won't even talk on the phone because he says they can be traced. He's flipping out in this new environment, though. He's flipping out.
We thought he was hiding in Revik's shed.
Oh yeah. I think he brings his dates to Revik's shed, but then he gets kicked out because Fraser shows up later.
Oh
God.
He don't want to see anything that's going on with that, so he's just like, I'm good, I'm out. Even the wolf is like, nah, I don't want to watch that.
That's good.
I have one quick one, and we don't have to go deep into it. Just
sure.
A two thing. Who is your favorite singles wrestler, and who is your favorite tag team of all time?
Single wrestler. Damn. That's tough. I mean, it's going to be the obvious answer, Undertaker, because it just, goes with what I'm into, and especially those 90 promos, where he'd be like, I'll pull you down into the fires in the pits of hell where you'll burn eternally in pain. I was like, I was fucking so sick back then.
Yeah.
Remember when he had Stone Cold on the pentagram and he was going to sacrifice somebody?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people don't like the 90s era, which is weird, but I do. Stone Cold right up there too with Undertaker from the Rock in the 90s was funny too.
Yeah.
Now tag teams. That's a good one. I think I'm going back to when I probably watched it the most. DX, does that count?
Yeah.
DX, that would be Triple H and who else? Or was it Road Dogg?
Road Dogg and
Road Dogg and Shawn Michaels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, their little group, and maybe more so for the entertainment value than the actual wrestling execution. I just enjoyed some of the stuff they did together too.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a fun time. That time of wrestling was fun. It was a fun time.
Yeah, the TV 14 era, they were just going off the hinges. That was great stuff.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Nice. And this is my final question, because I forgot to say, if people wanted to get merchandise and T-shirts and CDs, they should go straight to the Bandcamp or.
All right. I'm no shirts right now. We are sold out. So I might try looking some other means of finding. Oh, I am wrong. If someone wants a Pious LEVUS shirt, you can go to the blackmontanas.com, and they do print on demand for us. I always forget about them. That's a shirt, and it's official. And they have a couple different ways they can print them on: gray shirts with black logos. They do a muscle shirt, and these are just logo shirts.
All right.
With the logo. Yeah, and of course, your soft shirt or your regular T-shirt, whatever. The Black Montanas right now. I'm out of vinyl, so on my Bandcamp, all I got left is the split on CD.
Okay.
The split. We're out of We're out of everything else. But if you want a vinyl of the split with Omega Vortex, they're still available at Dark Descent.
That's good. If they don't have, nobody has that, get it. It's one of the best splits you're gonna listen to.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, and I believe not Iron Bonehead, Invictus in Europe has copies of it too. Nice. And I think Rob from Omega Vortex, you might, if you're in Europe, you get them from their Bandcamp as well, I believe. Sweet. Yeah.
Cool.
And we're working on our new album right now as we speak. So hopefully
can't wait
soon.
Can't wait to hear it.
Thanks.
Yeah. Definitely.
But all right, so Necron, I'm gonna just say from us, thank you so much for
man.
Time, man. This is awesome.
Like I said, I've been wanting to come on you guys' show ever since I started watching you. I always enjoyed the chemistry of you guys, and it kind of reminded me of like me and my boys, how you guys did the metal thing back in your teenage years. It kind of mirrored what we were doing, even though different parts of the country, whatever. It's cool because you can see the same spirit, going on and with the same people. So yeah, I was looking forward to coming on and being on here. So I appreciate the offer to be here and talk about myself for a while. That's cool.
Yeah, man. And we'll try to have something else in the near future. And
definitely have you back. Definitely.
Yeah. And if there's anything that you want to promote, any flyers, any upcoming projects, any upcoming shows, anything, feel free to pass it to us, and we'll always support.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll send you that flyer for the June 7th show for sure.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Send it over, bro. Send it over.
All right.
Well, that's pretty much it, guys. I want to thank again Necron for coming on to the show, and from Rich Tone, I want to thank him again for coming on. And till next time, this is Barry, that Goat Metal Show. Stay beautiful.